Growing up as a younger brother was never easy. There were always times where I wanted to kill and genuinely tried to kill my older brother, but obviously I calmed myself down before it ever got to that point. It was the simple things, like him hitting me and then telling me to hit him back so that I wouldn't tell. Or getting yelled at because I kept pairing my Wiimote before he paired his, and obviously he has to be player one. But out of all the things that I loved and hated about being a younger brother, the worst was always being the sidekick in video games, or the best friend of the main character while pretending to play these shows as a kid. Now, I love characters like Rob and Luigi and Tails now, but when I was a kid, that was never the case. I mean, I had to play as Cappy in Super Mario Odyssey, or goddamn Alex when playing Minecraft. I actually played as Tennis Steve, but you get the point. But with so many people growing up with the same experiences as younger brothers, where did the love for these characters come from when we knew we only got them because they were what's left? What these characters represent. Something in common with characters like Luigi, Tails, Darwin, and other beings in media is they're more compassionate, which tends to fit the little brother role. I mean, growing up it always seemed like my older brother was a dick and I was just an innocent little ball of happiness, of course. And you can see that in a lot of Player 2 media. And growing up, I never liked being Luigi when red was my favorite color, or being Tails when I always loved the concept of super speed and connected with Sonic. But I've learned to love these characters and associate them with my experience growing up, mostly because of the added personality given to these side characters. Luigi is scared of ghosts and kinder, Tails is smarter and can fly, and Cappy, well, not gonna lie, fuck Cappy. But what if these characters were made with the bonus of personality and lore because the creators knew they had to add something to make little brothers around the globe love these characters? If that's the case, if these characters weren't just leftovers, but actually reflected something real about us, then why didn't it feel like we were getting the short end of the stick? You don't pick Luigi because you relate to him, you pick him because player 1 already grabbed Mario. You don't pick Tails because you value intelligence and loyalty, you pick him because Sonic had already taken. The meaning behind loving these characters comes later in life. And that gap, that space between being assigned a role and eventually identifying with it, is where this whole thing lives. Because at first, being player 2 feels like you're less important, you're off screen, the assistant, the backup plan. But games and stories in general do something interesting over time. They start to reframe these roles. Luigi isn't just green Mario anymore, he's anxious, hesitant, but still shows up anyway. Tails isn't just slower than Sonic, he's the reason Sonic succeeds half the time. Robin isn't just following Batman, he's the emotional counterbalance that keeps him human. These characters don't win because they're strongest or smartest or quickest, they win and gain your love because they care. And for a lot of younger siblings, that hits way closer to home than the main character ever did, because when you're younger, you don't win by being in charge, because we never were. You win by adapting, by reading the room, by knowing when to push and when to back off, by learning how to exist around someone who's louder, stronger, and just older. So yeah, maybe we didn't choose these characters at first, but they ended up choosing us. And the longer you sit with that, the more you realize it's something kind of ironic. Player 2 was never actually the weaker role, it was just one that required a different kind of strength and mindset. But here's the part I think people don't talk about enough, because even if those traits are valuable, even if empathy, patience, and loyalty are strength, there's still something frustrating about always being the second pick, about always being after someone else. And I think that's why so many people grew up like this, having a complicated relationship with these characters and even their older siblings. We love them, but we also know why we're there and we got them. That tension never really goes away, but it evolves. Eventually you start asking, why do I have to be player 2, and start asking something way more uncomfortable. Am I still playing that role, even now? Have I removed myself from the shadow of my older brother, or am I still following Soot? If it seems like you're still a carbon copy of your older sibling, there's nothing wrong with that. Admiring or wanting to be the closest person you'll ever have in your life will never be a bad thing, but there comes a time where everybody has to find their own thing. Maybe these characters weren't made to make player 2 feel included or even have a player 2 option, maybe they were designed to grow with us. Because when you're a kid, being Luigi or Tails feels like a downgrade, but when you get older, it starts to feel like a perspective. Luigi isn't brave because he's fearless, he's brave because he's scared, and he still goes in to save Mario anyway. Tails isn't impressive because he keeps up with Sonic, he's impressive because he can't keep up with Sonic and he builds things that can. And that's the part that's different when you're not a kid anymore. Because eventually, life starts being a two-player game. There's no player 1, there's no older brother picking first, and there's just you. in whatever role you decide to step in here. And yeah, maybe you started out as a sidekick. Maybe you learned to be patient, how to be supportive, how to be brave, how to read people instead of overpowering them. But those aren't side character traits anymore, or younger brother traits. Those are your traits. Maybe Luigi taught you compassion, Tails taught you to use your head, and Ken taught you to learn to laugh when moments get tough, and Cappy taught you, well, god damn it, nothing, because fuck Cappy, fuck Mario Odyssey, fuck the Golden Corral, and fuck Go Guardian!